Power. It's a language everyone understands. In the boardroom, it's about mergers and acquisitions. On the streets, it's about respect and fear. For the Gambino family, it was always about both. They were businessmen in pinstripes and shadows, blurring the lines between legitimacy and crime. The allure of the mafia is undeniable. They are shrouded in an enigma of violence and wealth. Their influence seeps into popular culture, romanticized in movies and TV shows. But behind the mythology lies a brutal reality, a world where loyalty is tested and betrayal comes at a steep price. These weren't just gangsters, they were empire builders. They understood the mechanics of power, how to grease palms and break bones to get what they wanted. Their story is a cautionary tale, a reminder that the pursuit of power can corrupt even the purest of intentions. The Gambino family tree was rooted in Sicilian soil, transplanted to the concrete jungle of New York City. They were part of a wave of Italian immigrants seeking a new life, but finding themselves caught in the undertow of poverty and prejudice. In the 1920s, the seeds of their empire were sown. Prohibition was in full swing, and the demand for illicit booze was insatiable. Salvatore Toto d'Aquila, a ruthless Sicilian mafioso, saw an opportunity. He united various gangs under his banner, forming what would become one of New York's most powerful crime families. D'Aquila's reign was short-lived. He was gunned down in 1928, igniting a power struggle that would reshape the underworld. Into this volatile landscape stepped Vincent Mangano, a cunning and ambitious mobster. He consolidated his power, renaming the family after himself. The Mangano era had begun. Carlo Gambino, a name whispered with respect and fear. He was a quiet operator, a master strategist who understood the importance of staying under the radar. He watched as his predecessors, consumed by their own ambition, met violent ends. He would not repeat their mistakes. Gambino ascended to leadership in 1957, after orchestrating the disappearance of Albert Anastasia, the family's notoriously volatile boss. He inherited a fractured organization, rife with internal strife and vulnerable to law enforcement. His first order of business: restore order and discipline. Under Gambino's leadership, the family thrived. He understood that diversification was key to long-term success. They expanded their criminal portfolio beyond traditional rackets like extortion and loan sharking. They infiltrated legitimate businesses, from construction and trucking to garment manufacturing and waste disposal. Section 4, Teflon Don No More, The Rise and Fall of John Gotti. John Gotti, a name synonymous with the excesses of the 1980s. He craved the spotlight, relished the attention of the media. He was the antithesis of his predecessor, a flamboyant peacock in a world of gray suits. Gotti rose through the ranks, his ambition fueled by a volatile mix of ruthlessness and vanity. He chafed under the leadership of Paul Castellano, Gambino's successor, who he viewed as out of touch and overly cautious. In 1985, Gotti orchestrated Castellano's assassination, a brazen power grab that sent shockwaves through the underworld. Gotti became a media darling, dubbed the Dapper Don for his expensive suits and slicked-back hair. He was a frequent guest on talk shows, his every move chronicled in the tabloids. But Gotti's high-profile lifestyle would prove to be his downfall. The FBI, long frustrated by the family's ability to evade justice, made bringing down Gotti their top priority. Section 5. The Omerta is broken. Sammy the Bull sings. Salvatore Sammy the Bull Gravano, Gotti's trusted lieutenant, his right-hand man. A cold-blooded killer with a photographic memory, Gravano was privy to the inner workings of the Gambino family. But even the strongest bonds of blood and loyalty can be broken. The FBI, relentless in their pursuit of Gotti, finally had their break. They flipped Gravano, turning him into their star witness. In 1992, Gravano took the stand, his testimony sending shockwaves through the criminal underworld. He detailed Gotti's crimes, his role in murders and racketeering, his betrayal of the very principles of honor and silence that the mafia held sacred. The omerta, the mafia's code of silence, had been shattered. Gotti, betrayed by one of his own, was found guilty on multiple counts of racketeering and murder. He was sentenced to life in prison, his reign as the Teflon Don brought to an end. Gravano, in exchange for his testimony, received a reduced sentence and entered the Witness Protection Program. Section 6. The Business of Silence. Operating in the shadows. The Gambino family, once the most powerful criminal organization in the United States, had been dealt a devastating blow. The conviction of Gotti, their flamboyant leader, and the betrayal of Gravano, his trusted confidant, sent shockwaves through the organization. The days of open defiance and media attention were over. The family retreated into the shadows, adopting a lower profile. They focused on consolidating their remaining power, rebuilding their ranks. They learned from the mistakes of their predecessors, understanding that discretion was no longer just an option, but a necessity for survival. While their influence may have diminished, the Gambinos never truly disappeared. They adapted to the changing times, diversifying their criminal enterprises. They infiltrated new industries, exploiting vulnerabilities in the global economy. They understood that the world was their oyster, ripe for the picking, as long as they stayed out of the spotlight. The Gambino family story is a reminder that power, no matter how absolute it may seem, is always fleeting. It's a story of ambition, betrayal, and the seductive allure of wealth and influence. It's a story that continues to this day, whispered in hushed tones in the backrooms of social clubs and on the streets of New York City.